My name is Diane and this is How to Train Your Caterpillar, a spiritual life coaching channel. You are very welcome here. Thank you for checking out the video. This video is going to be about empaths. What is an empath and how to know if you are an empath. So before I get into it, I just want to say hopefully it will, you'll find it useful and you'll enjoy it and all that good stuff. And if you do and you feel like liking and subscribing for me, I'd appreciate that a lot. So empaths are very sensitive people. They are very good at picking up on subtle frequencies and changes in emotions. That's the key. They're very good at recognizing and responding to emotions within other people or within situations. Really what they're doing is, because emotions vibrate at different frequencies, really what they're doing is they're picking up on vibrations and frequencies. But you know what we call emotions, right? So like you could be sitting next to someone, if you're an empath, you could be sitting next to someone that you don't really know that well, and you can tell that not only is something bothering them, but you can tell that it's a specific thing, like it's something that made you angry, or it's something where you were feeling very dejected, or you're feeling very insecure, or you're feeling scared. You know, an empath will be able to pick that up in people, and it's very nuanced, you know, to the point where if you actually say it to the person, they'll probably be quite surprised that you picked up on it, because they haven't said anything to you. They probably haven't really changed their demeanor, and yet nevertheless you have picked it up. Because like, no matter what they're projecting, like no matter what they're saying, or their facial expressions, or their body is saying, you're picking up on something that's going on much deeper. Like almost at a soul level. So that's what an empath is. They are natural healers. An empath is a natural healer because not only are they able to pick up on emotions, they are also able to absorb emotions. So until you figure out that you are an empath, life is generally very confusing and not that great, because for a lot of reasons, I'm trying not to jump around, people tend to not like empaths. Particularly you will find false people tend to not like empaths. Empaths are like human lie detectors. Very difficult to lie to an empath because, like I said, they're reading the core, they're reading the vibrations. The vibrations don't lie. So it doesn't matter what a person is saying, doesn't matter the demeanor, like the face or the body movements that they're trying to affect, because you can fake that with time, right? If you know what you're doing. To a greater extent, you know, probably not going to be able to fake it with like a, I don't know, like a CIA analyst or whatever, but to the general population you could probably fake it, but not with an empath, because they're picking up on the vibration. So it's very difficult to lie to an empath. So if you're dealing with a false person, you know, they're attempting to put out a particular persona that they want the world to see them as, whether that's, that can be different things, but the empath is seeing the true them. So say for example someone has, I don't know, maybe not great intentions towards other people or towards, a certain person, but they're coming across like they do. They're coming across like this person's best friend or whatever, and empath's going to be able to pick up on that. So people tend to not like it. You are basically reflecting back to people their true self, you know, because the empath doesn't respond to the fake persona. The empath responds to the core person. So if an empath thinks that someone sucks, like if an empath thinks that someone is a bad person, you know, or they have like malicious intentions or whatever, then they're probably not going to be very nice to them. Like no matter, I mean, they're not going to be rude to them, you know, but they're not going to want to be friends with them. They're not going to want to give this person their time. They're not going to get drawn in with their lies, which is very frustrating for someone who is like spent a lot of years concocting this fake personality. They can lie to everyone else, but oh, there's this one bitch that I don't like it. And like, what if she tells other people, you know what I mean? He or she, like, what if they tell other people? So they tend to kind of come for you a little bit as well, is what I've noticed. And just to, you know, it's like, get back in your box. Like, you don't be coming over here messing with my persona and like what people think. So yeah, that might be something that you notice, you know, if you're an empath, like people that you have pretty much had no dealings with and have no reason to not like you will respond negatively to you almost as soon as they meet you, and you're just kind of like, what the hell? And it happens again and again and again and again. And if you don't know that you're an empath and this is what's going on, it can actually be very insulting. You're like, well, there must be something wrong with me, like I must be doing something. No, you're not. It's because you're reflecting the person's true self back to them. And it's not just with people that have malicious intentions or whatever. It's like, sometimes people just don't like that you can pick up on their emotions, you know, because someone might be incredibly, I don't know, say it's a guy, right? Easy example. Say it's like, you know, a big dude, and he hangs out with a bunch of other big dudes, and they all, like, I don't know, play rugby and they drink, and it's like, oh, manly men. But you can see the real dude, and he's actually very sensitive. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's actually very soft, very sensitive, like maybe kind of psychic or whatever. They're not gonna want you blundering into their friend circle and being like, oh, I see the real you, the one that like wants to watch The Notebook with me. Do you know what I mean? I've never actually seen that movie, I don't know. I'm just using it as an example. You know, they're not going to want you to do that. So that again can make people angry with you, right? So that's another thing. But yeah, like you can easily read false people, and false people will generally react quite badly to you because you can see it through them. But yeah, empaths are, not only can they read the emotions, but they're natural healers because they absorb other people's emotions, which is incredibly tiring for an empath. And if you're not aware that you're an empath, this can go on for years, that you are just going around absorbing other people's energy and you don't even know it, you know, because you can be feeling totally fine, like really happy, and then you'll be around someone and they might not even say anything to you about their emotions, but you suddenly start feeling like really depressed or like really like lonely or really sad or angry or whatever, and it's actually because you're picking up on someone else's energy. So it's important to identify it as early as you can, because once you see it, you're like, oh, okay, that's, you know, that's not my emotion. It can't be, because nothing happened in between, you know, here and there that would make me depressed or whatever. This is coming from someone else, you know. But because empaths are natural healers, you will tend, or they will tend to attract a lot of people who need healing. You can't, because we can't see any of the energy going on, right? Most people can't. We can't see the energy. Dogs can see it, cats can see it, little children can see it. That's why, you know, dogs respond well to like certain people, right? With like high vibrational energy, and like little children respond to people with high vibrational energy very well because they can see it. But once you get past about the age of 6, it goes away. But yeah, like you're almost like a lighthouse, like in terms of energy. You're almost like a beacon, you know, a beacon of light, or a beacon of like healing, you know, like an accident and emergency. Like a big sign on your forehead, like accident and emergency, you know, like a hospital. So people who have a lot of healing to be done naturally kind of make their way towards you, whether you want them around or not. So you will notice that you attract a lot of people that need healing, which again is very exhausting for an empath. A lot of the times early on, like an empath will confuse these relationships with romance, or like a friendship. But usually what happens is like the person will come and get their healing and then they'll leave. So again, you're kind of left, this is another one of those situations where you're kind of left being like, I did something wrong. It was me, like I must have done something wrong, I must not have a great personality, blah blah blah. No, it's just that the person got their healing and then it's almost like they get embarrassed that they came to you because they don't really know why they came to you. So it's like then they leave and you're like, oh, well, I must have done something wrong. Again, it wasn't anything to do with you, it's because of your natural like healing energy. But it's very, very tiring for an empath, like to be constantly absorbing other people's emotions, particularly if it's negative emotions. So one of the ways that you might know you're an empath is when you have been around people, you feel the need to spend a lot of time then alone, like recharging, because it's almost like you're transmuting this energy, right? Because they kind of dump their emotion, they don't know they're doing it most of the time, but they kind of dump their emotions on you and then they go away and they're all light and they're all happy and they feel great and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Like I just got like 50 years worth of crap, you know what I mean? And it takes you a while to kind of transmute it. But yeah, you will always attract people who want healing. And the thing is, a lot of the time, you know, it's like a moth to a flame, right? Like the moth might even, it doesn't even really know why it wants to be around the flame, but it does, you know. But the flame, like, you know, it can't land on the flame or it burns it, right? So it's like they want to be around you, but at the same time they kind of hate you a little bit, or you know, they kind of get angry with you a little bit for like making them do this shadow work and making them like deal with these things, like these sad thoughts or these like toxic behaviors that they didn't want to deal with. It's fun. I mean, being an empath is like a blessing and a curse, but mostly it's until you realize what it is that's going on, mostly it's a curse. But once you've realized what it is, then it can be a blessing, you know, because it is a blessing that you've come here and you're able to heal people like this. But when you're just kind of blundering around, you're like, I don't really understand what's going on, like with these people that seem to hate me for no reason, and like I keep meeting the same like toxic people over and over and over. Yeah, another thing is, you know, an empath, you might not like being in large crowds because again, the large crowds, there's a lot of emotions going on. So you're picking up emotions from all over the place and it can be very overwhelming. Or you might even find going out to Tesco's or Aldi is incredibly overwhelming for you. Like you find yourself very tired when you get back. And again, it's because people have been kind of leeching off your energy a little bit, you know, like even because your energy field is big, you know, like I think it extends to like a meter kind of out of your body. So if you think about when you're out shopping, you know, the amount of people that get in that energy, it's a lot, you know, and it's like you're this kind of big sort of accident and emergency, like, you know, circle of healing energy. So people sort of, you know, they walk past your energy and they get in your bubble and they take a bit of your energy away, you know, and depending on how much crap that person has, it's actually going to be very difficult for you. So it's not, you're not weird, you know, because that might be another thing that you're like, I don't understand why being around people tires me so much. It's because you're really sensitive. Like it doesn't bother other people because they're not picking up other people's energy. If anything, they're probably the people who are, you know, finding these empaths and like, you know, getting rid of all their crappy energy. Also, because you're like very like you're very empathic, you're very, you know, empathetic to other people's emotions, so you might find that you are very sensitive to like movies and TV shows and like what's happening, you know, things that happen to people on social media, you know, because you're able to, even though like in a TV show or a movie, like the character is not real, you're very able to identify with the person's emotions, right? It's very emotional for you, like it's actually kind of traumatic for you. So even as like as an empath, you even kind of have to watch what you're watching, you know, because if it's like you know, very like emotionally traumatic, then you're gonna, you know, depending on how good the acting is, like you're gonna be absorbing that, you know what I mean? You may have been known as like a sensitive child when you were sensitive, you know, you may have been one of those kids where it was difficult to kind of watch like scary TV shows with you or whatever, because it doesn't seem to bother some children, but you know, empath children tend to be very sensitive, so they might see something on TV and be like, oh my god, it's so awful, you know. Another thing is, you will notice, because people feel very comfortable with you, because you're kind of sending out these healing vibes, you get a lot of strangers that sort of come over to you, you know, like strangers on the bus, and they'll sit down next to you and they'll just start telling you their life story, you know, like completely unprompted, very, very quickly, and you just kind of going, what is going on here? And then they almost get like angry with you, because it's like they don't understand why they've done it, you know. It's just they have this trauma that they want to share with you, because they know that you're going to heal it. Like almost like even talking about it to you is kind of healing for this person, because you're an empath. But then it's like once they've unloaded this and they've got a little bit of your healing energy, they kind of get embarrassed. So they're like, I don't really understand why I just told you all that really personal stuff. And then they get kind of angry with you, like it's your fault. So I'm gonna make other videos on this topic, because empaths tend to stumble into a lot of codependent relationships. Like, I don't want this video to be super long, because it's already like nearly 20 minutes long, which is longer than I intended. So I'm going to make another video about that, like empaths and codependent relationships. But I'm going to leave this video there. Hopefully you found it useful and there was something in it that you could use. Don't forget to like and subscribe for me if that was in fact the case. And as always, I wish you many, many blessings, love and light. Take care.